when I whet my flashing sword, and my hand takes hold on judgment, I will take vengeance upon mine enemies, and I will repay those who hate me. O Lord, raise me to thy right hand and count me among thy saints.
And I am reminded on this holy day of the sad story of Kitty Genovese. As you all may remember, a long time ago, almost 30 years ago, this poor soul cried out for help time and time again, but no person answered her calls. Though many saw, no one so much as called the police. They all just watched as Kitty was being stabbed to death in broad daylight. They watched as her assailant walked away. Now, we must all fear evil men. But there is another kind of evil which we must fear most, and that is the indifference of good men.
I do believe the Messenians finally got the point. Okay, guys, I have been waiting a few days, maybe longer, to broach this subject. Now, I want to start with Charlie Kirk. It's fresh, it's on everybody's mind. The reason why I didn't do it sooner is because there wasn't enough intelligence out there for me to gather and actually do an actual report based on evidence at hand. Now, by evidence at hand, you guys know me, I don't trust Cash Patel. I don't trust the FBI, I don't trust the DOJ, I don't trust the CIA, I don't even trust the majority of local cops. I can't when you know what I know. By evidence, I mean the videos we've seen, the images, what our super sleuths on internet sites like 4chan and whatnot have uncovered. Discord chats and everything else between the shooter and this network of trans individuals. But first, I want to get something out of the way. All right? I don't believe in official narratives. Okay? And there's going to be a lot of people by the end of this video who are going to say that I'm drinking the Kool-Aid or what have you. I don't care. I really don't. You guys are so far out there with your theories and your conspiracies with almost a total lack of evidence of any kind that you're really doing the Christian community in general a disservice. Now, I will elaborate on this. There are a lot of people out there in the conspiracy theory community that put up pictures and images. Oh, Charlie Kirk used the OK symbol. And look at the way he shook that person's hand and all this crap. Their entire task and point is to claim that Charlie Kirk was part of the machine, part of the Luciferian order. There is absolutely no concrete evidence to confirm this. None. None whatsoever. Now, far more likely is he was just a man of God trying to do what he thought was right and got caught up in the Trump conundrum. And I'll actually show you evidence of this as we go forward. Any man or woman of God should understand Scripture and know that God is the one that raises people up or brings them down. That's his domain. That's what he does. And I was in the world of Satanism and the occult for far long enough to be able to tell you beyond a shadow of a doubt that the way Charlie Kirk spoke about God and defended Christ, you will not hear an actual Satanist make these statements. You won't. You will hear them defend a Christ, but not the Christ, as Charlie actually defended on multiple occasions. So I would ask you to lay that personal bias aside, okay? Just put it over there somewhere, all right? Listen to what I have to say. Then if you want to, you can pick it up and go do what you want to with that stuff, all right? And think of me what you will. It doesn't matter to me. Charlie Kirk, from all of my sources, the people I've spoken with, my research, everything points to him being a good man. Not only a good man, but someone that tried his best to do what he believed God wanted him to do. Now, I do think, like many Christians over the last 8-9 years now, with the Trump train and all that stuff, I think he may have got swept up in that. How many did? What we can see is that towards the end, there were a lot of things Charlie was questioning, including this unapologetic, unending loyalty to Israel. Kudos to Charlie. Do I think Israel assassinated him because he was questioning them? No, I really don't. I don't think he was creating big enough of a ripple, big enough of a stir for that to actually be a reason for what took place. However, I do disagree with certain aspects of the narrative that have been put forward so far. So let's break this situation down, right? For years now, not even political, but I guess we on the right, maybe that's what you call it, conservatives. I tend to just try to be Christian. We have seen a massive explosion in leftist violence for a solid 9-10 years now. What Charlie was doing was effective. Right, wrong, moderate, aggressive, doesn't matter. What he was doing was effective. And there are tons and tons and tons of testimonials out there from kids that started, met Charlie when they were like 14 years old, and, kids in high school, colleges, and stuff like that. and even atheists out there that, due to Charlie's influence, it turned their life around. Not only did they end up finding Jesus, but they ended up, embracing the core values of what conservatism actually is, which is amazing and astounding. He was having a real impact. He really was. That's what made him and other people in this space dangerous to the left. Now, is this the official reason why he was targeted? I can't answer that for you. I think that it's the most likely reason. However, there's an official reason and the not official reasons. I'm going to go ahead and say it right here. The man was murdered. Okay? He wasn't Tupac-ed. He wasn't Elvis. Alright? He wasn't Jeffrey Epstein. Okay? He wasn't wearing a bulletproof vest. He didn't have a blood pack mysteriously underneath his shirt. So you guys floating that stuff around, just chill out. Okay? I work in the security industry. I'm a contractor by trade. That's what I do. And there's more than enough evidence here to disprove those minor conspiracies. All right? First and foremost, if you'll give me a moment. Let's see here. What did I do with that? You know what? I'll just do it like this. Okay. Your average bulletproof vest, a concealable one, does not stop rifle rounds. It's level 3 and it's flexible armor. It'll stop pistol rounds. It will not stop a 30-06 round. It will not even stop an AR-15 round. At most, it'll stop a 22 shot out of a rifle. Yeah. Other than that, it's rated up to, I think, 44 mag handgun round. It'll stop a shotgun. But an actual rifle round, a bullet traveling at velocity, it's not going to stop that. It'll go straight through the vest. And that's the only type of flexible armor that you can wear that doesn't leave just a massive imprint. And even the ones that I have that are completely concealable, mine is just a shirt with a pouch for that plate. Even with something as low vis as that, you can still clearly see an outline of the plate and tell that I'm wearing armor. Unless I'm wearing like a vest and a suit coat over it. That's the only way it's going to blend in. But as far as like a regular t-shirt goes, you're going to see it, which is exactly what Charlie was wearing that day. He was wearing a t-shirt. There was no body armor under it. So the theory that it hit a plate and ricocheted and went for the neck, and no. Okay? No. Now, having said that, what I will say most likely is that the shooter was certainly programmed, not in the traditional way that I was or that others from my generation are, but he was programmed and radicalized. Now, people are making this big deal that it had to be a professionally done hit. What's your definition of professional? Are you referring to professional as in spec ops, CIA assassin, major hitman type stuff? If that's the case, no. If your definition of professional is something that has been thought out, planned out, strategized, and has a network backing it, that definition I'll agree with. But you have to look at the background of the shooter himself. This isn't just some kid that it's his first time ever picking up a rifle. All right? Look at his family. His father used to be law enforcement. So to think that this kid wasn't brought up around guns and taken hunting and trained to, shoot a rifle, you're far reaching. You're trying to communicate with spacecraft that's floating out there outside the atmosphere, is hello. You're reaching a bit too far. I can personally tell you that at the age of 7, I was taking down deer at 300 plus yards with peep sights. No scope, peep sights, iron sights, just like what you find on an AR. Although mine was a carbine. Yeah. At 7. Till this day, I can take someone who has never shot a gun before and train them to make a headshot on a target at 200 yards within just a couple of hours. This is not a difficult task. So, as I'm sure you're all wondering, why did he hit the neck? Is that what he was aiming for? In all honesty, I do not believe it was. I believe most likely either the scope that was on the rifle he was using, which was a Mauser, which if I remember correctly was a World War II generation gun, and in America it had actually been chambered for 30-06 rather than the original rounds that were in it. I believe that there were 2 possibilities, well, three possibilities there. One, the scope may have been off. I believe he was aiming for the head, and the round hit low and to the right, which would tell me either the scope was a little bit off, or he may not have been properly braced and jerked the trigger. Because when he did that, that would have caused it to dip down a bit and go to the right a smidge. Possibly. The other possibility, which I really don't think is going to happen, is he didn't account for wind and elevation, which I gotta tell you, due to the math and stuff I looked, and I'll show you a photo of what I'm talking about in just a minute. Due to the math and stuff involved in this, I believe it was just over 150 yards the actual shot was. I believe it was somewhere around 455 feet, which when you put that into yards, 155, 160-ish as far as yards go, which is an easy shot for a 30-06 with a scope. If you have the scope dialed in properly. So I believe this is the biggest likelihood. Now, actually, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and show you those photos real quick. That way I can really elaborate on what I'm talking about here. In just a moment. Okay. This is what I wanted to show you. This is a aerial view of where Charlie Kirk's shooting took place. As you can see, this is the area where Charlie was. Alright? This would be the courtyard. This is where all the people and stuff would be. So the only way, you couldn't do a straight shot like over everybody's head or anything else. And the odds of you running up there with a pistol are slim to none. Most likely a security team is going to take care of that before you can actually reach them. But this rooftop here provides you a perfect elevated position that is directly in line with where Charlie was at. Now, you back out of this. With this one. Okay, this is a different vantage point. As you can see, a raised elevated position, even if there were thousands of people, all through here, right? this is your stage area, and there is going to be limitations on how close you can get. I believe right here is where people were actually asking the questions at. This would have been Charlie's location here. This would have been the shooter's most ideal location. And truth be told, you probably could have gotten away with it here or even down here, though you wouldn't have had concealment. So I agree with the analysis that this corner is the most likely spot for a shooter to be. And we do have video of the suspect. Why did I just do that? I just did quotations knowing you guys can't see me. Oh my goodness. But this would be the most ideal location. If I were to plan something like this, that would be most ideal. I could be high enough that unless people were really looking at me, I know how to low crawl and get to my point without really being revealed. And as you can see, there are access points and ways to get up here that could be concealed. You could come in through this back parking lot area. You could actually come in from the trees here. If there's no traffic or anything, which I don't know, I can't tell you, you could legitimately sprint across here, stay fairly concealed enough to actually reach up top. And if you actually look at our suspect shooter's communications on the cell phone with his boyfriend, yes, that's right, you heard that correctly. This kid was not only living with, but dating a transsexual with all the meat and veggies still operational. So there you go. And there are multiple Discord and online connections that show that it's not just him involved, that there was an entire network here, including text messages that reveal him alerting his significant other. And what am I talking about? YouTube's going to probably restrict this video anyways. His boyfriend, telling him where to pick up the gun. And that's right, I said him. I'm not calling that thing her because it's not. It's him. So that's what we have. It's okay, this is future Jason. I forgot to talk about something in the video, so do that, and then we'll get back to what I already recorded. Yeah. Okay, so I forgot to mention, apart from there being a network that we have uncovered that is established fact now, there were a lot of people wondering how the shooter could have fled with the firearm in order to stash it where they say it was found. There's only one possibility, and we actually saw this happen. After Charlie was shot, there was mass panic in the crowd, right? But you also had other agitators staged in the crowd that their entire purpose was to distract the police. There was an old guy that ran towards the cops claiming that he was the shooter and I plead the fifth and I'm not saying anything and all that stuff. Now the other thing here is you had a crowd, estimates I heard was about 3,000 strong. There were only 6 cops there. 6 cops, 3,000 people. This was not taken seriously by law enforcement. Not my opinion. And this was a major failure. Okay, I'll let you guys get back to it. As I was saying, yes, there are tons of messages via Discord and a couple of other chat networks that show that it wasn't just him. There is a network there. Now, this is the part where I deviate heavily from the official narrative. All right? the official narrative wants to promote this as, oh, his significant other may have helped, or, you know, this guy was radicalized and all this stuff. But we also have to look at the other reports and stuff that have come in, like to Stephen Crowder, his ATF source that leaked to him the report on the weapon found and the certain types of engravings put on the casings that were very Antifa, LGBTQ plus whatever supporting, and things of that nature. So yes, this dude was radicalized. However, what you have to understand about modern forms of radicalization is that this is modern programming. Okay, if you look back to the history of MK Ultra and mind control and everything else, you'll find out that the physical torture, the LSD, microdosing, and all of that stuff faded out a long time ago. As a matter of fact, if I had to guess, well, no, I can't really say that. Because I know for a fact that people are still being programmed like I was in the covens today. But let me put it this way. There's the occult shadow realm and their version of mind control programming, right? And then you have things like the CIA and the government and the methods they use to program and activate specific individuals. What you have to understand about that type of programming, and we're even seeing it develop in Satanism, especially when they influence like video game companies, media companies, even cell phone companies, computer, social media, AI, all of that stuff is interconnected. All right. What you have to understand is the constant leftist media narratives being pushed, the isolated echo chambers these people go into and only communicate with people that have their exact same belief systems. That is a form of modern programming. It's a form of modern brainwashing. Okay? And then you also have programs that were developed by agencies like the CIA to where they will actually go online and use social media networks in order to isolate certain individuals and program them. You know, they will use these online things in order to radicalize specific individuals, make them believe something very specific, a very specific belief, and then activate them. All right, so this is not traditional like multiple personality type programming. However, this is targeted programming. Am I making sense? Am I getting through to you at all? God, I hope so. Okay. That's where I depart from the official narrative. This guy was targeted. This guy was radicalized. This guy was corrupted. And this guy was activated. All right? Now, it's not just him, though, because we are seeing an actual network. If you look at the last 5 or so high-profile mass shooting, active shooters, and marks like on Charlie Kirk, you will see a pattern of far leftist ideology, not to mention transsexual shooters. Deny the evidence all you want. The evidence is there. There is a network that has been isolated, programmed, radicalized. A support network structure has been built, and now they are being, and they, for the last few months, last few years, they have been being activated one at a time. This isn't like it was under Barack Obama, where all the active shooters and stuff, you know, would go out and do their thing and then eat a bullet. These guys are not showing your typical signs of Omega programming, where once the deed is done, they turn the gun on themselves, and that's it. All right? Now, this is different. We all know that with Obama and everything, the purpose was the globalist agenda to disarm America. All right? It didn't work. What happens when one of the elite's plans doesn't work? They go to plan B. All right? And that's the reason why you have Trump, his AI Golden Dome initiative, their rush to push all of us under a digital currency, and finally, Charlie Kirk. Requiescat in pace, my friend. I'm going to try and wrap this up, put a nice little bow on top of it for you. For years now, we have been targeted, right? Even when we do what's right, we're told we're evil, vile, corrupt people that only seek to harm others and do what's wrong. If you're going to tell a lie, tell it big enough and tell it often enough, and the people will believe it. But the right, I guess that's what we'll call it, conservatives, we have not responded in the way the left has. We don't riot. We don't loot stores. We try to adhere to protocol and the way things are supposed to be done. However, with what happened to Charlie, we're seeing that change. Now, there's good with the bad. On the good side, there have been a lot of churches that have been full since Charlie's passing, and people really seeking to understand what Charlie believed, who God is, and everything else, which is wonderful. It really is. But there's also a deep-seated, boiling rage within conservatism right now. I believe that we have hit the moment, the one thing that could awaken the right how do I say this? Very similarly to what happened in the beginning of World War I. If you studied your history, you'll know that World War I officially got kicked off with the assassination of one man. Is it possible that we could see civil strife, civil conflict, and even potentially civil war really kick off due to the martyrdom and assassination of Charlie Kirk? I believe it's possible. Like I said, I've had visions and things God showed me, certain events happening. I saw that World War I and that Civil War 2.0 and World War III would coincide almost simultaneously. I did not see what actually started Civil War 2.0 in America. So I can't tell you if this is the trigger pull that does it. What I can tell you is that there are plenty of people out there, they're done. Now, this leads me into my main point, okay? Also the reason for the intro the way that I did it. My main point is this. America has gotten to the point that it is, and corrupt as it is now, due to the complete lack of any sort of morals and sense of honor within the body of Christ and men in this country. There was a day in this country where if you saw a woman being attacked or someone trying to hold up a gas station or something like that, that you as a man would be morally obliged to do something. All it takes for evil to prevail is for good men to do nothing. And that's exactly what they have been doing for generations now. Absolutely nothing. Now, does this tie in with Charlie Kirk's situation? No. Do I think that more security protocols should have been taken into account, being the current threat level in America to people that are conservative, especially Christian? Absolutely. But it's not something that they could have predicted. Not without more intel and information out before them in order to make a correct strategy. I don't blame any of the guards or anything that were around Charlie at all. From what I hear, they're really solid dudes. So this is not about them. This is about men in America in particular. You just watched in Charlotte, North Carolina, that girl get murdered on camera while people were sitting around. Not one person did anything. Why? Indifference. I didn't see nothing, I didn't hear nothing, I didn't say nothing. Cowardice is what that is. You best believe, had I been there, he wouldn't have walked away. And I'm not sure exactly where he cut her, but I know that if someone had acted fast enough that knew what they were doing, took out the threat, and then moved to help her, there's at least a chance that her life would have been saved. But this isn't the only thing we've seen. Absolutely not. I see it in Memphis every damn day. Every day. New York, Philadelphia, Miami, Orlando, Tampa, Houston, Dallas. Name one city in America that this doesn't happen in. Name one. And then tell me how many of these murders, how many of these atrocities, was there a man standing by that could have helped and did nothing? You're weak. What happened? I don't solely blame the men, but I do put blame where it deserves to be placed. For generations, we've watched not just the church, but the population in general allow one thing after another with devastating effects. God was taken out of school. If you're a Christian, you can't talk about your beliefs and be public with it and actually challenge people and have debates and intellectual conversations in a school. You can't even pray there, but they can teach your kids about Islam, Buddhism, Hindu, any other pagan religion you can think of. They can learn all about that, but when it comes to Christianity, you can't say jack. Whose fault is that? When is the church going to stand up and do something about it? I'm waiting. Ever since that happened, ever since prayer and God was taken out of school, we watched a moral decline in this country almost do a complete straight nosedive down. You know it and I know it. Then it was abortion was allowed, and then the criminals were protected. Feminism was taught. communism started being taught. Leftist ideology floods the classroom and the colleges. So where does the blame lie? You tell me. If I'm wrong, I'll gladly admit it, but you're going to have to do some real gymnastics in order to explain that one to me, Haas. That's just a fact. Now, fortunately, and there's a lot of people that are going to disagree with me on this, but I support it. There's a lot of men on the right now fed up. They've reached that tipping point to where, you know what, come hell or high water, I'm going to do what's necessary to protect the weak, to protect the innocent. If I see something go down, I'm going to step up and stop it. And that's the way that it should have been this entire time. So to those of you men out there that are like that, my hat's off to you. To those of you who have just now woken to the reality of the world that we're living in, and you've made the decision that if something happens around you, you're going to put a stop to it and protect the weak and the innocent, welcome to the club. I'm glad to have you on board. But to those of you out there, and I'm talking men in particular, women to a certain degree, because I don't expect us to respond in the same way at all. But to all you out there that simply say, I ain't seen none, I ain't hear none, I'm gonna go walk this way and pretend like that isn't happening. You're pathetic. You're worse than pathetic. You reek of cowardice. And I don't want you anywhere near me. That's my tangent for today. Hopefully, what I said made sense to you. You know, keep Charlie's family in prayer. There have been some people to step up, and like Tom McDonald, and even Tucker Carlson, and a few others, in this particular area of conservatism. Thanks. His family doesn't deserve this. His family damn sure doesn't deserve all the leftist psychopaths out there making threats and talking trash. I'll never advocate for anyone to go out and do something to these individuals just because they're running them. But you better believe if one of those frogs jump, one of us better be there to put them down. Fast and hard. Anyways, that's all I got for you guys. God bless, all of you. Sorry I got a little heated, but this is something that is very personal to me. The only other update I got for you is Aimwin sent me their optic, the PE320. I've recorded kind of a basic unboxing for it, but I'll be headed to the range tomorrow to do some preliminary testing and finish the video on it. So that'll be out soon as well. And I know you were expecting my next video to be the one on DMT and the creatures of the astral realm. But if you don't know, I actually went and did an interview with Mike Stibbs and his True Fringe podcast. We recorded it last week. I'm not sure if it's out yet, but Mike's a good friend of mine, and me and him decided that we want to do the episode on DMT together. We were going to do it today, but due to recent events, we thought it'd be best to wait a minute. So we might record it next week. I'm not positive yet. I'll let you guys know. But that will be coming out soon as well. Having said that, guys, thanks for hanging out with me. It's Archangel, signing out.